I think I was, what's the word I'm looking for? Misunderstood for a good part of my career. But that's all come around now. I think people see kind of who I am now, so I don't really need to explain it. And when you're a young kid and you mature up through the sport, and all you've done is really race bikes your whole life, there is a maturing process from 20 to 30 that's pretty big usually. So I don't know, I just wanted to race my bike and go fast and win races. I've always been a real light, fun, chilled back dude, but as I mature, my personality and stuff comes out a little bit more, and the media now portrays me as more what I am. The media has a big part to do with your image. I've said stuff or done stuff and the media comes out and is different than what I actually said, or they pick one sentence of what you said and they make it look like you're this big, serious, gnarly dude, and that used to happen a lot in my career and it would really frustrate me. But I've learned to work around it. I check my interviews now. I require questions up front usually just because I don't want to be misrepresented. I want people to know who I am. First one is always really good. I remember that like it was yesterday, yeah. Like the feeling of winning that, like, I don't know, it's like you kind of don't believe it for a second. It's crazy. Winning that first one was definitely special. The one here when I won by 8 seconds, just about, in 2012 was good. The Wyndham one in 2015 was good.
American on American.
Yeah, the one 2 weeks ago in St. Anne in the rain was pretty good. Like, anytime you wrap up a title, Leo Gang's been good without a chain. Like, I don't know, man, I've had some good races.
You did. I mean,
it's hard.
Your emotion showed in Mount St. Anne. You were pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot now, even more than I would have, 4 or 5 years ago, for sure. I know how hard they are. I've been through ups and downs, and even when you have days where you feel like you should have won, like at Switzerland, it doesn't happen sometimes. So when you get the wins, man, I really enjoy them now. What makes it so good is it's just plays into my strengths really well, like everything I like, and it's all in my hands for the most part. You can have a bike issue or something, but you're not going to have another racer take you out or get a bad start or whatever. Everybody has a really even playing field usually, unless the weather does something crazy. And I just like it, man. It's you, the clock, the bike, like, it's simple. I don't think I ever have ridden over my head, not at one race ever in my whole career. I've always just ridden up to my abilities, and I try to make my 100% better than everybody else's 100 and whatever percent. So some guys can just hang it out and maybe luck into a good run every once in a while, but year after year, and injuries and consistency, whatever, like, I think my results show that I usually ride within my abilities. I've never been one to hang it out. Like, even since a little kid, I was always pretty thoughtful. I wanted to be pretty sure I could do it if I was gonna try something. I don't want to be crashing a lot. I don't like that. I always feel like, yeah, I give my best effort, and a lot of times I've ridden the sections of the track faster in practice than I do in my race, but to put it all together at the same time consistently, yeah, it's a different thing. So you have to kind of ride the limit because everybody's so fast these days. You can't just cruise down the hill and win. You really got to have it together. So I have to ride up to my abilities for sure, but I don't feel like I need to ride over them. I didn't have a lot of memories of downhill before I started racing because I didn't honestly know that it was a sport that people raced. I'd never really seen it on TV or been a part of anything like that, so I didn't know that it was as big as it was. Yeah, it was pretty big. And but I grew up racing motocross and BMX before that, so I've always had like a really heavy bicycle, two-wheeled influence background at a pretty serious level, like wanting to be a professional supercross racer and all that. So my background in bicycles is pretty big, even though I didn't get on a mountain bike till I was 20. I don't think it's a way of life. I think bicycles is a big part of my life, but it's not my whole life. But I enjoy it more than almost everything in my life, but not everything. But I love riding my bike, man. I'll ride my bike forever. And yeah, but I got other stuff I like to do, but for a job, it's pretty epic. I think there's always tracks that you like. I've always wanted to be good on every type of track. When I started, I remember I'll use Sam Hill for an example. Sam Hill was like, I mean, I didn't really know mountain bikes, but as soon as I got into it, I thought Sam was the man. But one thing I didn't get was that he could come to Val di Sole and smoke everybody by like 5 seconds and then go to Willingen and get 14th the next weekend. And I was like, man, like, I know that you could be better than that. Like, does he just not want to, like, figure it out? He doesn't care enough, you know, and no disrespect to Sam. But for me, I wanted to be good on every type of track, every weather, I wanted to be like the guy in the start gate that no matter what happens, you were like, I feel like I had a shot at winning. And it took me a long time to work on the weaknesses I had to be competitive on every type of track. But that being said, I only say that because I really enjoy like almost every track. I have certain tracks on certain years, like this one in 2012 that sticks out as one of my favorite tracks. You know, I was able to win that by a big gap. But then this same track last year, I didn't really think was fun because of the way they routed it. So tracks are kind of hit or miss. Tracks like South Africa I thought were awesome just because they're a lot of fun, even though they were tough pedaling wise. So I don't know what makes a fun track and a good race track. Like, I'd never want to come here on the weekend and just bust out a ton of runs for fun. It'd be like, you can ask what's my favorite bike, and I would say this one because it's the best one I've ever had. But technology gets better every year. You make improvements, suspension components. Like, I don't know, I would have said my Yeti was awesome, but if I tried to ride that down the track this weekend, I'd get absolutely handled. So I don't know, man. I think they've all been fun for different reasons. I gelled with my track really well. There was times later on in Specialized, kind of on and off, when that bike was a good race bike, and I really liked that bike for a fun bike. Like if I wasn't racing World Cups, just riding bike parks or kind of like 80%, that bike was a lot of fun to ride. This one's fun and pretty much just good at everything. So this would be my favorite, but I'm just comfortable on it. I really like 29ers. I've always really liked them. If I could only have one bike at home, it would be a 29er trail bike all day long. I always preferred over my 27.5 trail bikes. So I don't know, I think it's maybe coming from moto. When I get on them, I feel like I can be really aggressive on them. I like the way they sit up. So, and I think there's advantages for downhill for sure, but you got to get the geometry and the whole bike right. You can't just slap big wheels on it and think it's going to be better. I love riding my bicycle. I ride almost every single day, and I would do that whether I was racing or not. So it's to have it as a career and to make the type of money that I make doing it and have the amount of time and freedom and flexibility, it's pretty awesome.